My name is Margaret Jumonville, and I am the Associate Stage Director for Minnesota Opera's production of Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, so Matthew Ozawa's production of Romeo and Juliet I find is so effective because it focuses on the symbols that are most important to the story. And we see that in both the design, but also in just the concept of the show and how it flows. And those two symbols are the rose and the sword. So we start the story with the image of a rose, and when you walk into the theater, that's the first thing you see on stage is this giant rose. And then we end the story with a sword, and that's the last image that you're left with is a sword, and we've faded to black on a Romeo and Juliet who have just sacrificed themselves. And this journey that we go on with this mingling of love and violence and the mingling of young attraction coupled with communities that are at war with each other, I find that this production isolates that very well for us so that we can follow the journey of these two characters. For this show in particular, because it is an adaptation of Shakespeare's original Romeo and Juliet, it's not a play, but what the composer has done has taken the most critical moments for Romeo and Juliet and set those to music. So we don't have everything that the play has. We don't have this opening scene between the Montagues and the Capulets where we're seeing the bite my thumb language and we start to see those family relationships form. But instead what we have is an exploring of pivotal moments for the couple. So the moment that they first see each other is very drawn out. The moment that they first kiss and they first start talking to each other is longer in the opera than it is in the play. And because we've added music to it, we're able to experience those moments both theatrically but also emotionally. And so we get to see the highlights of their story, but with this added interpretation that the music gives us. So I'm very excited in this production for how we see the romantic relationship form between Romeo and Juliet, because we think of it as, they're just young lovers. But what we're working out, what we're figuring out in the rehearsal room is how does that relationship grow from the first kind of instantaneous attraction when they see each other to they go through relationship stages very quickly because, from the moment of seeing each other as strangers, just a few hours later, they're ready to sacrifice themselves for each other. I really hope audiences take away that Romeo and Juliet is more than a love story. It is that, but is also a story of violence, and it's a story of humanity. And I think this production really offers us a chance to see different sides of these characters' humanity. Characters that we think that we've known for years, but I think that every time we see this show, it comes to us when we most need it, and it can come to us differently, and it speaks to our experiences of love, but it also speaks to how we are living in the world today. Minnesota Opera's production of Romeo and Juliet will run November 2nd through 10th at the Ordway Theater in St. Paul, Minnesota. For tickets, you can go to mnopera.org.